Okay, so this is something I talked about last year back in July, and honestly, I have no idea when this game is supposed to be coming out, but I do know it's supposed to be re-released sometime this year in 2023. We're supposed to be getting a remastered version of Lollipop Chainsaw from 2012, a game that's over a decade old, and it's a game that had a cult following, despite the fact that it appealed to a niche audience, and I do feel that Lollipop Chainsaw for its time was actually pretty unique. It was a hack and slash survival horror type game, and it was developed by the same people who was responsible for the No More Heroes video game that came out back in the day, and that's also a video game that has a cult following as well, and I do feel that a Lollipop Chainsaw remake or it being remastered is something that I think would definitely, I feel like it would appeal more to casuals than it did back in 2012, 2013, mainly because it seems like the survival horror genre of gaming is starting to become popular again, especially considering the fact that we're about to get a remake of Resident Evil 4. We're about to get a remake of Silent Hill 2 from the early 2000s. We're supposed to be getting another new Silent Hill game somewhere later down the line. I do feel like survival horror games is definitely going to basically come back in terms of popularity. It's something that a lot of people are probably going to they're going to be more intrigued by opposed to, I guess, just shooters. Because don't get me wrong, the first person shooter genre of gaming is still very popular. People still love their RPGs and their action adventure games. But I do feel that Lollipop Chainsaw, if anything, I feel like it's slightly more popular now than it was then, because back then when it came out, it was just another game. It had a unique look and an interesting plot and all that stuff, but there were so many big games that came out back in the early teens, and more people were focused on different genres, and I believe 2012 was the year that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe Far Cry 3 came out that year as well. There was a lot of big games that came out in 2012, and most likely Lollipop Chainsaw got overshadowed by like the games I just mentioned. But the thing about that is the fact that we're in the year 2023, and there's also a lot of big games coming out this year as well that can easily overshadow the remastered version of Lollipop Chainsaw. You know, you got Street Fighter 6, you got Final Fantasy 16, you have several other games that's supposed to be coming out this year, and honestly, a lot of people are looking forward to those games, and those are games that I'm almost certain will break over 1 million in terms of sales. Lollipop Chainsaw, I'm not sure if it will break over 1 million in terms of sales, but it's a classic at this point, and I do feel like the people who played the game, they'll be nostalgic and they'll probably check out the remake if they get a chance. And also, I think it's a game that maybe teenagers and some young adults of this generation can easily get into, because you have blood and gore, you have violence, you have an interesting plot that's somewhat tangible with reality and the whole dynamic of bullying and all that stuff. So I think it's a game that a lot of people would probably check out if the remastered comes out this year. And the reason why I stress this year is because I think the remastered version of the game was supposed to be released a lot sooner, but I don't know. I guess something happened or whatever. But hopefully this doesn't get pushed back, and the remastered version of Lollipop Chainsaw does come out in 2023 as scheduled. But as far as whether or not this game deserves a sequel, I think we're way past that point now, because I do feel like if Grasshopper Games had wanted to make a sequel back in the day, they would have done so. And if they want to make a sequel to Lollipop Chainsaw, they could have done so with, with a similar premise and with a new character, probably at the same school. Or if they wanted it to be non-linear, they could have did it at a different school with a different character, so they have more room to be creative. But we're way past that, and that ship has sailed. So I don't know whether or not we're gonna have a sequel to a Lollipop Chainsaw, and I don't think the online demand for a sequel is really high enough, and it hasn't been high enough in the past decade. But there are a lot of people who are looking forward to the remastered version of Lollipop Chainsaw, and as of right now, we're still waiting for the official release date of the game itself.